When you grew up in St. Lucas, did you speak German or English or both?
When I grew up, I spoke English because German was going out of the area in St. Lucas. But I had older sisters that went to school and they had German, but that finally got changed. Well, just the times have changed, so. But I could talk German, but and I could understand it. But right now, I couldn't talk much because we haven't spoken. You know, once you lose that that idea of talking German, you just kind of forget how the words were. You know.
What did your mother teach you at home?
My mother was a good teacher. She had a problem with her legs, so she could not stand much. So she would sit in the chair and she would tell us what to do. She would show us how to cook and sew, of course, because my mother was a good sewer. And so we always had something to do. There was many times we would help her when she was sewing, just to help her with the sewing somehow, because there's a lot of work to sewing. You have to iron things when you sew and to get the seam straight and sew. But and we always had a big garden, so we were always out in the garden. And I remember one day, our potato patch was really getting weedy, and my dad said, if we all go out there and weed the potatoes, he would go to town and get us a quart of ice cream. That was the best tasting ice cream I've had in a long time. I mean, it was such a treat. I thought, oh my gosh, now we take it for granted.
What did your dad do for a living?
My dad was a farmer and milked cows, and had a lot of crops, had pigs, so.
Did your mother teach you to make your quilts that you make?
Yes, my mother made a lot of quilts. In fact, every winter we would tie quilts, and we'd give them to, well, if my brothers got married, then we'd make sure that they had a couple of quilts to take along with them when they left home. So there was never a dull moment. And we learned how to keep ourselves busy and just happy all the time.
How many do you think you've made?
I haven't made that many. I've helped with a lot of them. So I'm not sure how many I did probably. I just really made 5 or 6 for myself that I have now yet. But otherwise I would more or less tie quilts, which is a little faster and easier.
If you could give a piece of advice, what would it be to today's generation?
That's something. I don't know. Just be thankful for everything you have, no matter what you got.
What accomplishments are you most proud of?
My accomplishments would be having 4 children that are very appreciative of everything and are good to. We're always good to the parents. So that's a big accomplishment, really, I think it is. And to have your faith and love is all you need.
What do you remember about your grandparents?
My grandparents were very good Catholic people. They raised a family of, I think it was 12 children also. And they lived on a farm east of St. Lucas. And when he retired, he stayed in the farmhouse when the son got married, and he ran the farm then. But we would visit the grandparents quite often, and whenever we did any cement work or anything outside, or if my mother was quilting, we'd make sure we'd go and go to their house and bring them to our house so they could help us. And I don't think Grandpa had a car. They never drove a car. So whenever we wanted them, we always had to go and pick them up, and they would come. And I remember then when, for refreshment, my dad would give Grandpa a beer. And so Grandma always got a little glass full of beer, but she put a teaspoon of sugar in it. And then we got to drink some of that beer. So that was different.
Who were your grandparents? What were their names?
My grandparents were Teresa and John H. Kinnan. And they lived well. My grandfather died when he was 84, I think it was, or around that age. And my grandmother died earlier. She had problems with gallstones, I think, surgery, and she passed away then.
How about your dad's parents?
My dad's parents were Anton and Anna Wurzer. And, Anton, my grandfather, Wurzer, lived in Ashen first before that, he lived in a house in St. Lucas. And when he couldn't live alone, then he went to his daughter in Ashen, and he stayed with Arnold and Anna Clave. And my grandfather came from Germany, Grandfather Wurzer, and I think Anna did too, I'm not sure. And so really, we never saw my dad's parents like we did my mother's parents because they lived closer to us. Other than that, Anton was a farmer also, and when he retired, he built a house in St. Lucas, and that house is still standing. Somebody is in it now, so.
How did you get to school?
Most of the times we walked to school. We had, I think, 1.5 miles to school. But when it rained or something, we got a ride, or my dad would take us. But lots of mornings we knew how long it takes to go to school, so we would leave home and walk the long lane and then go to school. And in the evening it was the same thing, and we were always so lucky or glad once in a while when somebody would come by and give us a ride home, so we wouldn't have to walk all the way. So.
Did you go to your grandparents after school once in a while, did you say? Or did you stay in town?
No. We really didn't, or what do you mean by that?
I thought you'd said that you'd drop the horse off at Grandpa's house and you'd walk to school when your brother Alvin with polio had to take the buggy or the surrey or the sleigh to school.
There was a horse barn downtown in St. Lucas, and my brother would leave the buggy there, and you'd unhook the horse and you let him run, and when he came with time to go home at night, they'd put the horse on the buggy and then go home. And so that happened a lot, and that was when my brother Alvin was in school. Otherwise my dad wouldn't let us girls take the horse alone. We had to have a male with us. So.
Well, he had polio too, did he not?
Yes, he had polio, and so he could not do a lot of any sports at all. And so after the buggy was gone, when he couldn't go to school anymore, when he graduated, then we walked. We did a lot of walking to school and back. In the wintertime, my folks would probably take the sled and give us a ride to school sometimes if it was real bad. So, but in the wintertime, they didn't hardly drive the cars because, well, they took the batteries out in the fall of the year of their car and put it down in the basement. because the batteries would freeze otherwise, because they didn't drive the car in the wintertime. Always used the sled.
Is that how you got to church on Sundays in the winter?
And that's how we got to go to church then too. In fact, when it was really cold, then we had they called it a horse blanket. It was made from the horse's hair, and it was heavier than ever. But that was a blanket they put in the sled, and that covered us up, and we were warm then.
How did you meet your husband?
I met Eddie on dance in Spillville at the Inwood, where everybody seems to go for their entertainment, and so that's how that started going together.
How did he propose, or when did he propose to you?
In the meantime, when he was old enough to go to service, he was had to go to service, and he was there for 2 years. But before he went to service, we kind of had talked about getting married, but we decided not to until he came out. And so then he went to service, and that's how it kind of went then. And when he came home, well, to begin with, then I did go down to, he was stationed in Alabama for 2 whole years, and he was so tired of being there, but at least he didn't have to go across and fight in the war. And so I guess it was better than going to the war, but it was awful hot all the time when he was in Alabama. And so I did go down to Alabama for a while, but the living conditions were not good down there. We rented a bedroom with kitchen privileges, and that's where we stayed for a while. And then later on, I did go home, and then he was released in October. But in July, we had our first baby, but, and that was Ken, yeah. And, but, I'm trying to think what I was going to say.
What was your wedding day like?
Our wedding day was a memorable day. We got married, and we had 8 o'clock church in the morning, 8 o'clock mass. After that, we came to my folks' house, and we had a breakfast just for the wedding party. And so then the reception was at my folks' home place, and the machine shed was set up for the bar. And so our dinner was, though, held in St. Lucas church basement because they had more room there than we did at home. And so I'm trying to think, and then it happened to be on a Saturday when we got married. So we could have a dance, but Father Shue said it cannot go past midnight. So at midnight, the dance was only held from 9 until 12. And so, otherwise, the dances at Spillville would last until 1 o'clock in the morning. But Father Shue said, no, it's Sunday, you can't do anything like that on a Sunday. So.
What was the farthest you would get away from home years ago if you went somewhere? How far would you go?
Well, probably in later years, we did get a little further because my mother had a brother that lived west of New Hampton on a farm. His name was Leo, and we'd get to visit there once in a while. Usually on Sunday afternoon, that was our time. We'd go visit some uncle or aunt, or otherwise they would come to our house, and there'd always be a ball game going on somewhere. And so if the family came with a bunch of kids, we all went to play ball.
Are there any family members that you have strong or fun memories of? Fond memories of?
I have fond memories of all of them. Everyone stands out with something special. Yes, they are.
What did you do for entertainment? Did you play cards or anything like that?
For entertainment, we, on Sundays, we'd always play games outside if we could. Hide and seek was a very popular game, and we'd always enjoy that when it got to be dark at night, play hide and seek, because that was a little easier to go hide, because it was dark out and when there was no porch light that you turned on, you just didn't have it. So, and we did play a lot of cards. My folks played a lot of cards, but we always had to sit there and do our homework, make sure that our homework got done. But when we got that done, we could play cards then. So.
Did you have electricity back then?
I grew up with no electricity in the house, but I think later on, I was born in 1930, and so later on we did have electricity then, but it was REA that my dad had, and that was really quite a change, you know. But before that, I just barely remember not having electricity, because we just had kerosene lights, and when it got dark at night, you just go to bed instead of staying up until midnight like we do now, because we have lights.
Who'd you play cards with, or what kind of cards did you play?
Lots of times we would play, in the neighborhood we'd have card parties. We'd invite the neighbors over, and the adults would play cards, and us kids would have a chance to play games with them, or just while they were playing cards. And later on, we did play, well, it was called, you throw dice. They call it bunco now, I guess. And we did have, once in a while, we would do that. We'd have neighborhood gatherings, and we'd play dice. And when we were growing up, there was a game we'd play button button. I'm sure you all know how that goes, but that was a fun game. And so we always found something to do. Nowadays, not at all like it was nowadays. I mean,
So when you went down to Alabama, were you guys already married then?
yes, yeah.
Okay, because you didn't have that part in there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like, well,
They
he was
lived in
still
Flint?
he was still in the service, and then I went down there to visit him,
Oh.
and the first kid was born.
Yeah. That's not good. Not at that time.
You didn't get when you got married in
Not
there
in
at
the
all.
not in the 1950s.
Yeah, well, yeah, you should have explained that you went home to have
Yeah.
Kenny,
Right.
and you stayed with your folks, and then
Yeah.
came back down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I might get the wrong
Not
impression of
good.
you.
Not good. Yeah.
Because he asked how he proposed, but you never said how he proposed. You had yourself going down to Alabama
Yeah.
and then having your first kid.
Yeah. I know.
So do you remember?
I don't know how he proposed to me. You know, I said they'd make a big to-do about it like they do now. I mean, we just talked about it and we just decided that was it, you know? You know, it's just how it is for the next 20 years.
No big production.
No, they all stayed right there when they had the wedding. I mean, in the machine shed, the women stayed more or less by the house, and the guys would be in the bar or the machine shed where the tubs of water was with beer.
So there was no lag in between?
There was no lag time. You said you got married in the morning, you went and had dinner, and then you went and did your daily stuff, and then you went back later, wasn't it? Is that what you said one time?
No, Because during the day, I mean, after Mass, you just visit with people. And then in the afternoon, you had to go somewhere to get your picture taken. So that kept up the afternoon. But in the meantime, everybody stayed at home, just in their, where they,
You probably had to go to Calmer to get your picture taken, or West Union.
Cresco.
Cresco, longer.
Yeah, because that guy took
Stratman.
Linda's folks' wedding picture too.
And my mom's wedding dress and her wedding dress were identical.
No way.
That's cool.
Really. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And of course,
Exactly
the same background too, because
Yeah.
of the same
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stratman.
yep, Stratman.
Well, thank you, Alvina. It was great interviewing you. Look forward to seeing this on YouTube and teaching people all about
Yeah.
your life in Lawler. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you.